Welcome back, YouTube. We are going to make something really fun and tasty today. We're going to make potato gnocchi. We're going to show you a few little secrets, how you can make this ahead of time, freeze a batch as well. And we're going to use russet potatoes.
Potatoes, oh God, no, not potatoes.
We're going to add a bit of ricotta as well. Now these are great, less starchy, so we're going to bake them, and that's going to make them a lot more lighter and fluffier. So this is a great recipe to have in your toolkit. Everybody should know how to make gnocchi rather than buying the store-bought stuff. So let's get cracking and have some fun. Okay, start by pricking your potatoes all over with a fork so they don't blow up in the oven. This helps the steam come out. I've used about 940 grams here. Put them on a tray. We're going to bake them at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, all-purpose flour you can use no problem. I've used 00 farina here. This makes the gnocchi, in my opinion, a little bit lighter. We need 90 grams of the flour and then measure about half a cup, just extra for dusting and rolling out for later. Set that aside. Now, 50 grams of ricotta is next. And we're going to take 1 egg, crack that and beat that up, and once they are both done, set them aside in your fridge for later. Now this is a huge butternut squash.
It's huge.
Use the top part of this, so not too much. I'll put the exact amount in the description below. Take off the top like this and just start peeling it down. Peeling the squash gives you less wastage. Square around the top, and then what we're going to do with this is we are going to dice this. All you have to do is just square it off like this. Again, this is completely optional. And then just start slicing down until you've got some big pieces. Now, all that trim, we can use all of that trim in soups and stews and things like that later. Now, take your slices, square them off into little chunks like this, and there you have your diced butternut squash. Once you have them all diced, we're going to put them in a bowl with a little bit of olive oil, pinch of salt, some black pepper, a little pinch of chili seed flake, and we're going to add some ground fennel, my absolute favorite, and then a little dash of maple syrup. Give that a good tossing around, and then we're going to bake that with the potatoes at the same time for about 25-30 minutes. You'll know when they're done. Pull them out, check them with a knife like this. If they go through and they're completely tender, they're absolutely done. They'll look like this, and set them aside. Okay, now we're going to check the potatoes. It should be done in about an hour. If they're not, just give an extra 10 minutes. Cut them in half at this stage like this. This is important. It lets the steam get out. Let them sit for about 10 minutes. Okay, get your potato rice ready. Grab a potato with a cloth if they're still hot and start scooping out the potato into there. Now, when we rice this all over the counter, we're going to basically make a flag-like shape. The reason for this is because you have a bigger surface area, so the steam escapes, so you don't have one big mound of potato. This really helps so you don't get a gummy gnocchi later. Okay, start chopping through the potato with your bench scraper. This is just going to get rid of any excess steam. This is the technique we're going to use for the gnocchi until we can start folding it in with our hands. Now season this up with salt, white pepper, this bit's important, and put your egg all over, not just in one place. Start chopping that in again, just like this. Now add your ricotta, chop that in as well. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to get 3/4 of our flour and we're going to shake it all over.
Shake.
Make sure it's dusted all over in an even layer. This just helps with the absorption. Now chop that through again. Fold over at this stage once you've got it into a mound like this, and you will see that it's a little bit wet still. That's when you want to add the rest of that 1/4 bit of flour that you have remaining.
Shake.
Now start folding that in like this, and you will see how easy this comes together. Flour your hands. Start by getting it all together with your bench scraper one more time, and then literally you're just going to bring this into a mound and fold it over, and just like that you have got your gnocchi dough. If the mixture is still a little bit wet, you can just add a little bit of flour, and you're just going to use your palms and roll it into a sausage-like shape, just like this. It comes together. If you need to knead it one more time, just like this, you can do. Keep going, and then you will have a beautiful gnocchi dough. You'll be able to feel the texture of this dough when you're working it, and it should look like this. Now set this aside. Flour your tray. This bit's important because that's what we're going to put the gnocchi on for later that we're going to freeze. Cut off a piece like this, and we're going to show you how to roll it. The inside of your dough should look like this, beautiful air pockets. Now start rolling with the palms of your hands. This is just going to help you with regards to getting the shape. Roll into a cylinder, and we're going to start off slow by just gently cutting off some 1-inch pieces. Now you can put an indentation like this with your finger, and that is a perfectly acceptable shape for a gnocchi. We're also going to show you a couple of other ones. Here's with a fork. Flour it upside down, roll the gnocchi off like this, and it will come off and it will look like this, and the bottom is a little pocket there for some sauce. Okay, now start cutting the other pieces off your log. We're going to roll them out just like before, and we're going to show you another way here now. Flour your bench scraper, cut this in half, put them like this back to back, and then you can do them 2 at once. When you get confident, you can get a little bit faster, obviously. Now for these gnocchi, we're going to roll them up, and we're going to use our gnocchi paddle.
That's a paddling.
And we're just going to take this, roll it down with your thumb, and it'll pop off like this. This will also give you another classic shape. We're going to go through the rest of our gnocchi now, and we are just going to put whatever shapes we feel like. I'm going to put my thumb in because this is probably one of my favorite ways to serve gnocchi. Get that on a tray, put that in the freezer. That's going to be about 2 hours. After that, it's going to look like this. Now, the reason for the silpat is it just pops off straight away. Now, take them off, put them in a couple of Ziploc bags like this, and hey presto, you've got gnocchi in the freezer for whenever you need it. Okay, now let's finish off the rest. We're just going to chop these up a little bit smaller than the other ones, and this is going to be for our dish that we're going to make now. So I'm going to roll these ones up into balls, and we are going to go back to our gnocchi paddle, give it a good flouring, and then just start rolling them off. The more you do this, the confident you will be. It is a numbers game when you're doing this kind of stuff, so it doesn't matter if you mess up, just keep going. You can still use all the ones you've messed up to. Now put them onto a floured tray, and let's roll out the last of our cylinder. Now this one I'm going to cut into the classic style, and this is going to be for another little video that I will post later, which will be a little short to show you what we're going to do with this last one. Okay, now get a pan of water on and salt it. Be generous with the salt, it's very important. Put the lid on, and now let's do an optional step, which is the garnish. You're just going to crisp up a few little sage leaves in a pan with about ½ teaspoon of olive oil. Okay, to the pan we're going to add some brown chicken stock. I will give you a recipe for that later as well. This is going to be the base of our sauce. Once this is in, we are going to focus back onto the gnocchi. Jump back to your pan and put in your gnocchi. It's very important you give the pan a little shake from side to side. This just stops them from sticking. In about a minute or two, they will pop up to the surface. At this stage, take them out, but save the cooking water. Now add a little bit of lemon juice to your chicken stock, some salt, some pepper, and we're going to put some knobs of butter in, and we're going to work this round. Scrape off any bits of fond, that's all flavor from the bottom of the pan. Now add a little bit of the cooking water and mix this through, and your sauce will pretty much come together. At this stage, just take it off the heat. Add in your butternut squash, and then put this back on the heat. Add in your gnocchi, and then start tossing this through. We're going to add a little bit of more cooking water just to get a bit more sauce going, and then we're going to put in a knob of butter or 2 and start to Monty that in.
Oh, Monty.
Couple more tosses of the pan just to emulsify everything together. Check for seasoning and season accordingly. I added just a little pinch of salt. Now we're going to start to plate up. Now we want to make sure everything gets a nice even dispersal so they're not stacked on top of each other and squash the gnocchi. Add a little bit more cooking water at this stage into the pan just to get the last of the sauce going there. There'll be plenty of seasoning in there, so don't worry. Spoon that over nicely. Let's add a nice little bit of aged parm. 1 more little squeeze of fresh lemon juice. We're going to add our sage garnish at this point. Use your artistic license here. Nice little bit of extra virgin olive oil, and there you have it, my friends. Our dish is done. Gnocchi with roast butternut squash and brown butter chicken stock. And just super soft. They just like disintegrate and melt. So like. Okay. Try that. Let me know what you think. Comment below.